Local marketer and entrepreneur Meagan Anderson worked in management at the North American headquarters for Bentley Motors, the luxury car company. During her time there, she noticed a huge gap in the marketplace for thoughtful, custom, and beautiful gifts. Whether it was for a client, a friend, a boss, or attendees of a seminar, gift giving just seemed too hard. She moved back from DC to Gainesville to start Well-Wish, a concierge service for gift giving. Using her unique talents, Meagan has quickly become a go-to gift expert for real estate brokerages, Fortune 500 companies, venture capital firms, and her grandpa. Enjoy episode 162 of the WHOA GNV podcast. You are listening to WHOA podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the WHOA GNV podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa, 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 whoa. I am your host, Collin Austin, and today's episode is being brought to you by my friends over at Gainesville Harley Davidson. Are you thinking about selling a used motorcycle? Look no further than your friends over at Gainesville Harley Davidson. Find out what your vehicle is worth in 30 seconds at GainesvilleHarley.com. Trade in and trade up at Gainesville Harley Davidson with their huge inventory of new and used models to fit every budget and lifestyle. Visit their showroom at Northwest 39th Avenue and I-75 or call them at 352-331-6363. Is it time for you to upgrade from your scooter to a brand new Harley Davidson? It's literally the only people I would allow you to do this, right? Go from a scooter to a Harley, baby. Then be sure to connect with my friends over at Gainesville Harley. Again, their number is 352-331-6363. Thank you, Kevin, and the entire Gainesville Harley team for your support of our show. I love you guys. You guys are the greatest. And you guys, I am amped to get into today's episode. You're going to find out why in just a couple of minutes. Today on the show, we have Meagan Anderson, CEO and founder of Well-Wish, a concierge service for gift giving, serving both individuals and businesses all around the country. Meagan, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I can't believe I finally earned the right to join you.
Earned the right.
Yeah, it's a milestone.
It's that big of a deal around here.
Of course.
So Meagan, I love to just start with the story.
Yeah.
I want to hear how this, I know that it's been like this side hustle that's quickly become
Morphed.
like a primary hustle. I'm just excited to hear this story. So tell it to us. How did you get into being the Well-Wish CEO?
The gift boss?
The gift boss. Is that what you call yourself? The gift boss?
No, I just made that up on the spot. That's why it was terrible. No, I mean, it's funny. Anytime anyone asks me, how did I get into this? It's kind of just like how everybody gets into everything. I think it's just this series of happy accidents, happy events that kind of get you there. I've loved gift giving. It's totally a language of love for me. I don't necessarily need to receive gifts, but I absolutely love to give them. And so that's been something that I've done for basically my whole life. And when I went to the University of Florida, studied business, ended up going into international business.
What years were you there?
You want me to date myself?
If you don't mind.
No, I don't mind.
The only reason I asked this question is because I went to the University of Florida Business School, and so I kind of like to see where people fall in relation to myself.
So I graduated from grad school in 2013.
Okay.
So it was a little while ago now. Feels like yesterday, and it also feels like 50 years ago.
It wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't.
I graduated from the UF Business School in 2004, so I feel like I'm the one who's really starting to get old around here.
I meant date myself as in I'm much younger than you.
Yes, you are very much younger.
No, so I graduated from there, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I ended up during an international study tour that I had to go on as part of my grad degree.
All right, really quick.
Yeah.
how did you get to Gainesville? Were you from here?
Oh, I'm from here.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, I'm from Gainesville.
ACR, like all the way?
Full ACR.
Okay.
And actually, I joke that I'm like the unofficial mayor of Gainesville, which probably isn't true anymore, but I love Gainesville.
Okay.
I really do. It's like my special place. Even when I wasn't living here, I would just look so forward to coming back because it just, I mean, if you live here and you're from here, you know it just has this like special thing that kind of pulls you in.
Which high school did you go to?
I went to Oak Hall for a minute.
Okay.
And then Buchholz for a minute. And then dual enrolled. I could not wait to get the heck out of high school.
Okay.
It was not for me.
All right. So ACR.
No, yeah,
all the way.
full ACR all the way. Well, I was born in the Keys, but my
really quick though. Sorry.
No, that's what this is for, right?
My interview, by the way. I feel like ACRs like typically don't want to go to UF. I feel like don't they usually want to get the hell out and like go to a different college?
I feel like yes, which usually takes most ACRs like 2 hours in any direction, like Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Tampa, Orlando. Yeah, most of them don't stay, I don't think.
Okay.
But I love Gainesville.
I love Gainesville.
I love Gainesville.
UF all
I love
the way.
my family.
Is it the only school you applied to, or did you apply to others?
I think I applied to like UCF and FSU and random places, but
UF
it was
said
never.
yes, you're like 100%.
Totally.
All right.
It was not really a choice for me. I loved being here, and I love my family's in town, so I got to hang out with them. And anyways, it was great.
Awesome.
So, where was I?
You're talking about post Gainesville graduating.
Yeah. So during my grad degree at UF, we actually had to go, because my degree was in international business, we actually had to go to an international country, foreign country, go figure, in order to graduate. So we went over to, we did Germany and Prague and a little bit of London. And during my time in Germany, I actually went to Dresden. This is with the school, where Volkswagen has their luxury. Do you remember the luxury car they introduced called the Phaeton?
The Phaeton?
Yeah, it was like a very short-lived, nobody wants a $100,000 Volkswagen thing. But they commissioned...
Kind of want one now.
They're probably more expensive now than they were. Volkswagen commissioned, like they ran a contest for an architect to design a beautiful factory that looked and sounded more like art than it did a manufacturing facility. And so I actually got to visit what they call the glass factory in Dresden, Germany. And after that, again, like my whole UF thing, I was like, I want to work for Volkswagen. Not applying to any other jobs, have a great degree, probably could make a lot more money elsewhere. I want to work for Volkswagen. So sure enough, applied, got an offer. It was a very long, arduous interview process, but I ended up moving up to DC like 2 weeks after I graduated to work for VW. Then my time at VW, this is like a whole long story. My time at VW, they actually own the luxury car brand Bentley. And so I went into Bentley, and my job there was basically like, kind of describe it as like CRM, client experience, relationship manager, basically teaching all of the Bentley dealers how to actually love on their customers and nurture them throughout the whole process.
Interesting.
So this kind of like loving on people, making people feel seen, making people feel appreciated theme has kind of carried through.
Can you give us like one thing that Bentley did that is like that special thing?
Oh my gosh. Bentley actually does a really good job doing this. Okay. One of the really special things they do is they actually allow their production teammates from Crew England to sign the inside of the leather that they stitch onto the seats of the Bentley.
All right. So if you like literally pull back your seats,
you'd have to find the right place. Yeah, you could.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And they don't do it with every car, but that's one of the special things they do. I mean, there's like, it's just too many to list that they do. But yeah, so I mean, during my time there, I became kind of obsessed with this idea of the luxury experience. I mean, that was my job. And so I really studied into that and leaned into that and realized that there was a huge white space in the market for giving people thoughtful gifts. Because what do you give somebody who's buying a $400,000 car that's going to be done in 2 years? Like, what do you give them? They have everything. And so it really comes down to not giving them something that they don't already have, but giving them something that's super thoughtful, makes them feel seen. Maybe it's a family memory that you know of. Like, there's lots of ways to make people feel special, even when they have that much money. So that was just a kind of an area of opportunity I noticed there for one reason or another. My boyfriend at the time and I decided to move back to Gainesville because I couldn't get it out of my head that I wanted to live here again. And I quit my job with Bentley.
Well, on a whim, or?
Honestly, it was more of a personal thing. I needed some time to kind of heal from the whole corporate rat race. I don't know, how much am I allowed to divulge? Can I say whatever I want?
Absolutely.
Okay. Being in automotive as a young woman, obviously, I mean, you know the automotive landscape here in town, and I'm sure in lots of other places, especially being in corporate automotive that was foreign owned for a young 20-something woman was not the easiest situation.
Okay.
It's traditionally dominated by kind of your middle-aged to older white male, which is not a big deal. Like I always joke, I love old white men. My dad is one of them. Like they're great. But sometimes when you're trying to be innovative and you're a little bit green and you maybe don't understand the way things kind of work in corporate America, it was just challenging.
Pushback, red tape.
Yeah, everything. You're sitting in a meeting, you're the only woman, you say this brilliant idea that you think is so great, and they kind of brush you aside, and then 2 minutes later, somebody 4 seats down from you that's a 50-year-old vet in the company says the same idea, and it's, oh, Jim, that was a good one, man. And so it was just, and that's not to complain. I mean, I loved my time there, but it got to the point where I needed to kind of take a step back and reassess, like, there weren't a lot of women in leadership positions there. And so for me, there was no one for me to look at to say, oh, I want to be like her, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So kind of just wanted to reevaluate what I wanted to do with my life, wanted to take some time to kind of heal from the experience. What better place to do it than sunny Gainesville, Florida?
Yeah.
So came back down here. I thought I was going to hang on to the job and do it remotely, but I ended up just saying I just had to cut ties for the time being, and started WellWish. Like 3 months later, I kid you not, with an Instagram post. I had been thinking about this. I thought maybe at first it was going to be like an elevated greeting card company, like your friend breaks up with her boyfriend and you send her like a single glass of wine, a chocolate, and a card. That's like a little bit better than a card, but not as much as a bouquet of flowers type of thing, right?
Okay.
So I thought that's what it was going to be. WellWish just kind of came to me as a name, and I was like, oh, whatever, I'll use it as a working title. Okay, cool. Put up a post. My friend helped me. I'm terrible at graphic design. And my friend just helped me make this little, like 2 little W's. You can still see it if you go all the way back on my Instagram. And I basically just like forced my friends to follow me. And I was like, I'm going to be doing something really cool. By the way, I had no idea what I was doing. I'm going to be doing something really cool. Just follow me and we'll see what happens. And ever since then, I would post little gifts that I would give to other people, really just like my family or friends at the time. And, you keep taking pictures, you keep posting them to Instagram. Then somebody DMs you and says, oh, I totally forgot. It's my mom's birthday in 3 days. I really want to get her something. She needs to relax. She's really high strung. So we come up with this like lavender spa gift and we send it to her. And at the time, I mean, I didn't have any wholesale arrangements. I was going to stores, buying products at full retail, doubling the price, right? Because that's what you're taught in retail is to keystone things. Doubling the already retail price of these products and selling them in gift boxes that I would find at Michael's or Amazon.com.
Convenience fee?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
They would have put it together themselves if they felt like it. They came to me.
For sure. There's no doubt about it.
So anyways, yeah, that's how it started. And I came up with this in a stroke of brilliance. I don't know why. I came up with this thing and I said, I'm going to say yes to every single gift request that comes in the first year.
Interesting.
So you want an etched bottle of scotch. You want a pair of leather cowboy boots for your dad, whatever. I'm going to say yes. And so I kept saying yes. And I think that's what's helped the business grow so organically is I kind of learned throughout that year what the market wanted. And what the market wanted was not elevated greeting cards. And so I kind of shifted my business model into what it is now.
So that I'm like obsessed with this, right?
No, this is the first time I'm hearing this.
All right, so I'm totally obsessed with this idea.
Thank you, me too.
I would say that New Scooters for Less has been known for its customer service and then for its customer experience.
Amazing.
We've I have always said that the customer experience is the thing that elevates like businesses to a completely different level.
Yeah.
Most businesses offer mediocre customer service at best.
Right.
If you can take that up 1 degree, and I usually use the whole like boiling point principle.
Yeah.
It's like at 211 degrees, you have hot water, but at 212 degrees,
it boils.
That 1 degree of difference, you have that 212 degrees is you have boiling water, and that creates steam, and that powers a locomotive. It's 1 degree of difference. So I like to use that whole analogy, right?
It's a great analogy.
And it's like you take it up a whole nother level. And so New Scooters for Less has been known for that.
Yeah. And
so when I see a business that's doing what you're doing, I get, I don't know, my heart just feels so good.
3 sizes.
I feel so good. I'm like, man, this is
good.
This is
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
And then when I see, so I recently received a thank you gift.
You've gotten quite a few well-wish boxes.
I get like a lot of well-wish boxes.
People get there. It's like, oh, Collin Austin again. I'm like, oh, great. What are we going to give him this time that we didn't give him another time?
This is what's super interesting because the first time I get one, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm like, what is this? And I open it up. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then the second time was like almost, it was a puzzle. Like I legit got like a puzzle. And it was from Mitch Glazer over at Tech City. I'm like, it's a puzzle. I'm like, I don't have time to put this together right now.
Too bad for you.
I know. It was like something super awesome if I would have just put it together right then and there. Because it had like a secret message on it.
Yeah.
And, but, I've seen more and more and more of your well-wish boxes.
Thank you.
And the last one, like, took me over the top. I mean,
well, of course, it's bourbon.
Exactly.
It's the good stuff.
It was bourbon.
Yeah.
It was a old-fashioned kit.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. And I love old fashions, for those of you that don't know. And when I got it, and it was just a thank you gift. It was a thank you gift from Lisa Fetro.
Sure.
Because I had referred somebody to her.
Yep.
And I mean, that was just awesome. And I'm like, man, this is so cool. Like, I just love, the feeling that you get when you receive it.
Right.
But it also makes you want to instantly, like, this is what I always do, right? I Instagram it right away.
The unboxing.
Right, which is such a great benefit to you as a company.
It's amazing. I love when people do unboxings. Yeah,
people are going to do unboxings and they're going to show it and they tag you in it and they share it with the world. I mean, it's just such a very unique, creative thing. So, I mean, I would just say, thank you for having this business.
For making all these gifts for you.
Really cool. I get really cool well-wish boxes from people. And
I have to interrupt you.
Okay.
All of those gifts, let's use the last one as an example. That was not necessarily something that I considered like my in-stock, ready to ship kind of gift that's pre-made. That was Lisa texting Wellwish and saying, I need to get this gift. This person really likes bourbon. What kind of old-fashioned or bourbon box can we do for my desired price range of X? And then it's she and I going back and forth a little bit, iterating, me saying, okay, let's do this item, and her saying, oh no, he already has something like that, let's do this. And we kind of go back and forth to create this gift that is really custom to you and your kind of tastes and your likes and dislikes. And so each gift, whether it's pre-packed or not, is kind of like that little moment of impact where you open it up and you feel like, oh, this person that took the time to pay for and order and buy and send this gift really gets me and really appreciates me.
Right. It's super personal.
Yeah,
which I love about it. So that brings me to my question.
Yeah.
Of how scalable is this? Like, I feel like that's going to be the struggle, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Is how can you grow that experience?
Did my fiance hire you to ask these questions?
No, but should he have?
Yeah,
maybe he should be here next to me interviewing you with me.
He should be. He's my best encourager, and he challenges me with these types of questions. Okay. I think we should do a follow-up interview in like a year, and then we'll do one in 2 years and then 3 years so we can see how this grows.
I'm all about it.
Yeah. In terms of scaling, It's interesting. I have some people that help me now. I don't have necessarily what I call full-time employees, but I have like my dream team of freelancers who get called in when things spike, basically. I do have an amazing personal assistant. We call her an executive concierge, and she helps me do lots of market research and put together proposals. And even like we brainstorm like, okay, who are some people that we can reach out to, like cold email, cold call today for like sales things. But that's definitely been, you hit the nail on the head. That's been one of the biggest challenges, because when I get an order for, I've had the privilege of working with some large companies at this point, and I'll get an order for 600 boxes. And it's like, holy crap. That's a lot for me right now, because I only have so much space in terms of warehouse space that I'm fully grown out of that I need to upgrade. So I'll have to call Mitch.
We need space.
Yeah, I only have so much warehouse space. I only, the boxes, like the actual box itself is branded with Well Wish, and those are designed by me. I only have so many of those boxes in stock at any given time, and those take 6 weeks to produce custom. So it's like this whole kind of supply chain exercise that I have to go through. It is scalable. I will say that. I know that it's scalable because there are other people doing similar things. I personally am exploring the idea of what's called a 3PL, which you're probably familiar with, but I will explain. Third-party logistics, where you basically give them the prototypes, you give them the inventory, you give them all of your like specs for designing the actual gift. They pack and ship. So theoretically, I could be anywhere in the world and facilitating a send with my 3PL.
So
in terms of quality, it stresses me out. I know.
I mean,
there's lots to explore.
Yeah, there's lots to explore. There's a lot to explore there.
Yeah.
It makes me think of a book called Delivering Happiness.
Okay.
Oh, I think you would love it.
I haven't.
By Tony Hsieh. Tony Hsieh.
Okay, I have to
became
get
the
it.
CEO of Zappos.
Okay.
It's an incredible. I love it because it's a story.
Of course.
You hear how he developed this program, ended up selling it and investing all this money, eventually became, basically got to the point where he went all in on this on somebody else's idea, became the CEO of Zappos.
Love it. That's like what Howard Schultz did with Starbucks.
Yeah,
he took over somebody else's idea.
Exactly.
And made it amazing.
But it reminds me of that because one of the stories in that book talks about the fact that they, for a while, had a third party.
They probably had horrible customer experience, and it was a nightmare, and
got rid of it.
Ended up losing a ton of money.
Yeah. It got to the point where they were not going to have this third party because the customer service wasn't the same.
Sure.
The customer experience wasn't the same.
Right.
And that's what, eventually that's what Zappos became known for, was this customer experience. Mm-hmm. Like, people go there and they take tours because of the culture. It's crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah, so those types of things make me like,
I know.
I don't know.
I feel the same way, but I know that there are a lot of smart solutions for things like this. And in terms of scale, I mean, maybe it really is, this business it's a big footprint, because the amount of inventory you have to stock, the amount of stuff, it's the boxes, it's the shred, it's the tissue, it's the shipping boxes. Like, all of that is currently in one space.
Yeah.
And so the footprint of the business is big. And as the business gets bigger, the footprint almost has to grow before the business does, which is scary as an entrepreneur, because you have to bet on yourself constantly to grow your space to accommodate the orders are going to come in one day, but they haven't yet. So it's weird. It's like cart before the horse all the time. But I know it will scale, and especially with some things that I have kind of cooking in my head, I think that it will scale smoothly.
Okay, so
that's wishful thinking, by the way.
This whole thing has been a side hustle.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it was an Instagram post.
And then it
was a side hustle.
Yeah. Is this is the gig now? This is where you're spending all your time. Are you doing anything else?
Funny you should ask. Yes, I am. So I have Well Wish, which I probably spend, do I only have 100% of time?
Of course.
Because I think I spend 100% of time on Well Wish, and then another 20% on my business coaching that I do. And that is really my side hustle now. So Well Wish is my full-time job. That's the company that I'm trying to scale. That's where I see a ton of it's really where I see a ton of potential, not just in terms of revenue, but we get to make really awesome impact with people like you. And the boxes market themselves. So our recipients, AKA you, are going to be our next customers because they know how amazing it was to go through the experience of opening it. So next time you have a thank you to send, you'll come to us and another person will get to have the experience, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, so I do business coaching on the side. That's kind of my passion project. It started, well, first my mom's a psychologist. So coaching, counseling, consulting has kind of always been something that kind of ran in the family. And so I've learned a lot from her, and she has her own coaching and consulting firm now here in town. But people kept coming to me and saying like, wow, it seems like Well-Wish grew so fast and you're already hiring a personal assistant. And oh my gosh, like what an upgrade in the boxes. Because remember, I talked about the Michaels boxes versus like the fully custom ones I design now. So people were coming to me and saying all of this. And then it turned into, yeah, I'm really not happy at my job. I think I really want to quit my job and start something, but I'm kind of paralyzed. I'm nervous. And so it kind of became this thing that I don't want to say doing for free, but it was kind of a little bit, it was started to take up more and more of my time, and I started to get more and more fulfillment from it. So now I actually have the privilege of having coaching clients, and I do all kinds of things with them. I walk alongside them. I'm not an advice giver. They already know all the answers they need to know. I just ask the right questions to kind of pull them out of their shell and get them to move and start to take action for the future. So that's a huge passion of mine, especially right now.
That's cool. How many hours are you spending on that each week?
On my coaching?
Yep.
Depends on the week. I try to schedule my coaching on weeks where I know we don't have as much production scheduled for Well-Wish. So I try, but I would say on average, I probably spend 8 to 12 hours a week on my coaching business.
Okay.
Which is one-on-one calls with clients, and then also developing some curriculum for what I hope to be a standardized group program that's launching later this year.
Mind blown.
It's so fun. It's so
cool.
Fun. It does not feel like work to me.
Is Well-Wish seasonal at all? Like, I mean, like with the holiday, like if the holidays come up, are you like super in it, like sending gifts all the time?
Holiday, I consider to be from September to January.
Okay.
Because my selling for holiday, letting people know that it's happening, sending catalogs, my selling starts really in September. Inventory planning actually just started. So in July, I start to plan inventory and design boxes for Christmas. So it quite literally is Christmas in July. But in September, I really start selling to people, making inroads with leads, reminding people that I exist since last Christmas type of thing. And then really the orders start rolling in, usually like beginning of October. And then, of course, you have your amazing last minuters that it's like December 20th and they realize they haven't sent any of their employees Christmas gifts.
I'm totally the last minute guy.
Now I am too. I don't get any of my personal gifts done on time because I'm too busy trying to make everybody else's happen. But
hey, Megan, what do you got still in the warehouse?
Exactly. What's in inventory? Can you help me? Yes, exactly. So, so that kind of runs through January. But the business is seasonal, but I'm really working to smooth it out. I have a strategy. I don't know if I should be telling my new strategies. I'm actually really focusing on...
I'm planning a competitor business right now. I'm
Good luck. Good luck.
Taking so many notes. You have no idea.
You'll enjoy it. Call me when you want to sell your inventory. Just kidding. Real estate brokerages, boutique real estate firms need for their realtors these type of grab and go gifts for people they've just sold houses to, for people they've just listed houses for referral gifts. These agents need these gifts to grab and go.
But what makes it a win is the fact that it's completely customizable.
Totally. So you're saying, what about the grab and go?
I mean, what is that like very generic? It's like these are the options. Like, what does that mean?
We work with
grab and go.
We work with the firm. We're working with a couple firms in town. Lisa actually is like more of a personal client to me. I'm not working with her firm yet. Maybe one day soon. But we work with.
Let's go, Keller Williams. Like, let's go. Like, what are you waiting for?
We work with the firm to actually we'll custom brand swag for them to put in the boxes.
Gotcha.
And it's not like in my opinion, when you're giving a gift, nobody wants another plastic pen with
Right.
your logo on it.
Sure.
Right. Unless you're me. And then of course I'm like collecting pens as I go. But it has to be a gift that people want to receive. So
Agreed.
if we're going to brand swag, I want it to be the best version. If we're going to do a coffee mug, I want it to be a branded Yeti. You know what I mean? Like I want it to be the nicest version that somebody will actually use and not just chuck in the trash can. So we'll custom make what gifts we have for the firm with their logo and all of that, but they might fit into a larger gift that is kind of more standardized. So we have a really cute box. It's like a spaghetti night box that's like delicious artisanal pasta. It's got some vegan tomato sauce in it. It's got black pepper, luxury olive oil, this really cool pasta serving spoon. And that's a great one for housewarming. So, here's a beautiful gift for you and your family to make spaghetti together. And we might put, for example, a branded candle in there that's from the brokerage. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So
That's very cool.
custom, but not for those.
And so I know one of the things that you've been able to do with this has been basically allowing, or I guess I would just say having the ability to really build relationships with these businesses
Yes.
that are coming into the boxes.
Definitely.
One, you don't know this. This is super exciting.
Tell me.
I'm actually excited to tell you.
A little nugget.
One of the boxes that I've received, a Well-Wish box that I received, had a craft syrup spicy margarita mix
Yes.
in it.
Oh my gosh. That was probably the first one you got?
I mean, one of the first.
like
I've gotten so many.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I know.
so
Oh my
loved
gosh.
around.
You're like, there's like a stack of Well-Wish boxes underneath the desk.
No, but I mean, I had this.
That syrup is
cocktail.
good.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
And, I think, from a brand standpoint, this is what's super unique is that, I was exposed to something brand new. And I've bought it
Totally.
over and over
Oh, that's
and
so
over
awesome.
again because I received it in your box. I was like, this stuff is so good.
It's like a little discovery.
I love it. And so now I actually keep a little bottle of it here.
I love that.
And I will serve up a little spicy margarita
So
to
good.
our guests who come in for podcasts and
Love
stuff
it.
like that. And it legit became part of our normal
That's so cool.
life because it was in your box.
That's so cool. That's one of the best, that's one of my favorite parts about the business is I get to work with, and we work with some larger brands, obviously, for certain things. Like it's hard to find a local champagne that's decent. So we work with Moet. But I get to, it's so fun. I get to curate this selection of products, and obviously I test them all and I try them all out, and are they good
cool.
enough for our boxes? And so not only do I get to learn the story of the companies that I'm working with, but I get to learn the story behind all of these brands, many of which started with an Instagram post or in their kitchen or baking cookies with their kid that are now these huge brands. And so I get to now expose my audience to those brands. And a lot of them are small businesses. A lot of them are minority owned. I lean into that because I know how important it is to have those repeat orders as a small business.
Okay, so can you give me a quick idea? Like if I had a lead referral, like somebody referred a bunch of business
Are we going
to
to
me.
design a box on air?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just,
Okay,
I'm
okay.
kind of curious.
Okay.
Like if somebody, referred a bunch of business to me and
Yep.
I'm like, all right, so Meagan, I want to send this person a gift.
Mm-hmm.
I know they like old fashions.
Okay.
Just kind of like Lisa did for me, right? How does that work?
What's the process like?
Yeah, what's the process? Do I just reach out to you?
Yeah.
I mean, can I do that? Can I just do one box, or
Of
is
course.
this like a subscription thing? Like, what is it?
Yeah. So there's actually lots of different avenues. We do have a website. I'll plug it really quick, www.wellwishboxes.com.
Okay.
So we do have a website where we have basically what I consider our ready-to-ship gifts. Those are gifts that I've designed based on the past, almost 3 years of working with clients. Those are gifts that keep kind of working. in the situation. Exactly. So there's probably, I'm sure there's an old fashioned box on there right now because that's a common thing that people like to give as a gift. So a lot of those are kind of like what I consider my best sellers or like my quick hits, that it's very easy to go on there and select one. You enter the recipient's address right there online, you pay. And I always say, we do all the work, you get all of the credit. You literally can write your little message in the notes section online, and we'll handwrite the card from Collin to your super client, right? And it shows up from Collin.
Will you perfect my signature and my handwriting?
I have incredible handwriting. And so do my helpers. That's that's the sniff test. Like, Pete is not writing any of the cards.
Okay.
So that's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is exactly how we started, which is DM us. Okay. DM us what you're looking for, and we usually go through a process. I would typically ask you, if you were DMing me and said, I want to get my super client who just referred me a bunch of business, I want to get them a beautiful gift. I would usually start with, okay, tell me who the person is and what is the deadline. When does this gift need to arrive in order for it to be timely? I would ask you their likes and dislikes, or tell me a little bit about them or what's important to them. I like to ask what's important to that person, because a lot of times they'll say, oh, family's really important to them, or maybe self-care is really important to them. So I ask my client to assess what's important to their person, right? And then, of course, I always have to ask desired price range, which this is a little bit weird sometimes with, I'm asking my clients to tell me how much they want to pay me rather than me upselling or whatever. But the reason I have to do this is because if you tell me you have a super client who just referred you a ton of business, I know you're a local business owner, I'm thinking in my head, okay, budget's probably, I don't know, $250, something like that, for like a really, really killer referral gift. Well, maybe it was just a really killer referral because you had a great time working with them, but you actually didn't even make any money on the transaction. So maybe you really only want to spend $75. But you want them to feel just as special as the $250 gift. So I asked the desired price range to get a feel for, I don't want to over recommend. And then, of course, I will.
What's the average?
I will upsell you from there.
What's the average? Tell me, what's the average?
Average person-to-person gift is usually around $135. Average corporate gift is usually more around kind of like the $160 to $180 range.
Okay.
But I do sell a lot of gifts that are around like the $65 to $75 range. I wouldn't say that's the average, but there are a lot of those small gifts, especially if they're recurring. Like, I have this wonderful photographer client in town where every time, when she's delivering her clients their final wedding images, she puts them on a USB, she delivers me the USB, and then I pack it in a box and send it to them.
That's awesome.
So they get their wedding photos on a USB in a curated box from her.
That's amazing.
That Well Wish packs.
Love it.
If that makes sense. So
yeah,
so you can just DM us. You can, if you are unfortunate enough to have my cell phone number programmed in your phone, you can call me and say, this is what I need. My assistant handles the inbox now, so she passes me on the requests that I need to see.
It's, again, like,
choose your own adventure, Collin.
I know. I love everything about this because, like, I'm hearing this, and one of the things that I was doing pre-pandemic was I was speaking to a lot of like real estate groups, a lot of realtors. I'm really big into personal branding. I think personal branding is huge.
Yeah.
And I always like to push, especially with like realtor. I'm like, man, you really have to stand out. Like, you really have to stand out.
Absolutely.
And so the way when I'm thinking about like being a real estate agent, I'm like, okay, if I was a real estate agent, how would I be a real estate
handle
agent?
my business, right?
And it's easy to kind of fall into like what everybody else would do.
Sure.
Right?
Well, it's like the easier, softer way. It's the path of least resistance. It already exists.
Yeah.
It's just, okay.
And so like I'm thinking, okay, like I would 100% build a relationship. I'm asking you, you come into Gainesville, I'm asking you a bunch of questions about, what's obviously like what's bringing you into Gainesville.
Yeah.
I want to get to know you. Like, you guys got married. Where did you get married? Like, where was your honeymoon? Oh, your honeymoon was in Hawaii. You went snorkeling, all this kind of thing. And then from my mindset is like, if I'm selling a house, I'm like, okay, well, what I would do is I would have something like a Well Wish box that's like snorkeling gear.
Yeah, totally.
that I would find out when their anniversary is, and not necessarily the anniversary of when they bought their house,
right?
But the anniversary of, their actual wedding anniversary,
totally.
Or their honeymoon, or something that would build this connection. And it's like, hey, and I would send it like a year and a half or like 2 years later. It'd be like further down the road after they bought their house from me, and saying, hey, like I've
been thinking about you.
Yeah.
Have you read Giftology by John Rulon?
No, but it sounds like I probably should. Right?
Yeah, you absolutely should. It's a super easy read. It's the idea of you're giving somebody a gift, not to thank them for the transaction, but to value them as a person.
Right.
So if you give somebody a gift with your branding on it, which, by the way, is not the worst thing to do. Sometimes that has a time and place, but you give somebody a gift with your branding on it, you're basically asking them for like, hey, can you do me a favor and promote my business for me? If you give somebody a gift that's maybe a cosmetic bag with their wife's initials on it that now she can use every time she travels, you've now thought of her instead of yourself. Right. If that makes sense. And I think promotional products totally have a time and place, and they can definitely accompany a gift, but they are not the only gift, if that makes sense.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, I mean, I don't know. That's where I'm at, is like, I'm like, if I was doing this, I would 100% want to come up with these very creative, outside the box. I would want to be texting you or emailing you or sending you a message.
The big red phone.
Hey, can you find me snorkeling gear?
Yeah.
Because this person, I know that this couple went on their honeymoon,
right?
And that this is something that's going to like make them remember, that.
Well, and it's funny because there's also an opportunity, and what I might say to you, because I like to think of myself as more of a consultant in this role, kind of a gift expert.
That's good.
What I might say to you is, look, Collin, good snorkeling gear, I'm from the Keys, good snorkeling gear costs a lot of money. And by the way, it's really, really specific person to person.
Sure.
So if they like to snorkel, they probably already have their own snorkeling gear. Let's buy a single snorkel and put it on the top of the box just to jog their memory that you remember that they like to snorkel. And then let's do something else in the box that's like maybe a drink they can have on the boat after they snorkel or whatever. So I'll act as a little bit of a consultant, and I'll push back on you and say like, well, if you want snorkeling gear, you can go find it yourself.
Sure.
Or we can come up with something that's even more personal that involves them in an experience.
That's cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of a fine line though, because I never want to say like, no, we can't do your idea.
Yeah. Right.
So
I mean, I was just like completely pulling that out of my ass.
Totally. But that's how the process would go, right? You and I would work back and forth. I
guess I just like to push people to kind of get outside of this mindset of, let me take a step back. I love the fact that it's very concierge, right? It's very like personal. This whole like normal, like, let me just order a gift basket and send it to somebody is like just blah. Mm-hmm. It's blah. It's like, okay, you want to send them a thank you for the business, but it's very like a blah thank you.
They're probably not going to eat what's in the generic gift basket. They would probably just rather if you sent them $50 in cash.
Right. I mean, seriously,
you know what I mean though?
Yeah,
like sometimes a gift, if it's not thoughtful, can almost send the wrong message, which is, I didn't value you enough to try a little harder.
But when it's thoughtful, it's like, cheers, Lisa Fetro. Thank you so much.
Exactly.
I appreciate it.
I love that. I love that you're having that right now.
So anyway, I have one question.
Okay.
We really got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
One question.
Yes.
What's the coolest well-wish gift that you've designed?
Oh my gosh, you're testing me.
I'm testing
Every
you.
well-wish gift is the coolest well-wish gift.
What's the coolest?
Oh man, you're really testing me. Okay.
Come on.
It might not be cool in the way that you're thinking of.
Okay.
I have an 88-year-old grandfather who lives in Pennsylvania. And he was going through a really hard time, and there were these people coming in to check on him. It was a husband and wife, and it was really, really important to him that he gave them something special. And so I had the privilege of working with my grandfather back and forth to design and this is old fashioned, right? To design a his and hers gift box. And it was if you can picture it, here's the box, right? It's two different colors of shred. One is way more masculine. One is way more feminine. And then it's all the things that he liked, one of which was old fashions, or he liked Manhattans too. So we did all of that stuff on the his side. And then we did all of that stuff on the hers side that she liked. And then the divider was kind of equal parts, one chocolate for the other.
That's awesome.
So that one was really cool. And then also my favorite gifts that I've ever been able to give during the pandemic, I reached out to clients once a week. I made a commitment to myself and to my business that I would give away one gift a week to somebody who maybe just needed a little pick-me-up. And so it was another opportunity for me to bond with my clients.
Just complete surprises just out of the blue.
Well, it was like I would go to a client that I had worked with in the past, and I would say, hey, I know things are kind of tough right now. Who do you know that needs an extra little love? And so then we would talk about a gift for them. We would effectively design a gift for that person. And it would be sent from me and say, my client told me that you might need a little pick-me-up. Dana told me you might need a little pick-me-up. Here's a little something. So I did that every single week last year after COVID started, which was really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
That wasn't like the sexy answer you were looking for.
I know, but that was still a really great answer.
Well, it's my favorite. I think that is the coolest, that I have the opportunity to do that with my business when I feel called to do so.
Yeah. This has been so much fun.
I know. I don't want to stop talking.
I know. Neither do I. But like, we really want to wrap it up.
But we have lives, and it's...
Where can our audience connect with you? Where can they subscribe? Or like, where can they get your boxes? I know you plugged your website earlier, but what is that again? Where's your Instagram?
All the things. wellwishboxes.com.
Okay.
You can also feel free to email us at concierge@wellwishboxes.com. You can find us on Instagram or Facebook at wellwishboxes. And yeah, you can find me like eating at afternoon and hanging out at my parents' pool.
Love it.
So yeah, anytime you see me, I'm always happy to talk.
This is going to be a very fun follow-up.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to tell you about it.
I can't wait to see where this business goes.
I'm excited.
I just love it. I love everything that you do. And I just think it's super exciting. And every time somebody, one of your people walks in the door with a well-wish box, I'm like, oh,
yes, finally.
Like, yes.
Another one.
Like,
you're like, what did I do to deserve this?
And I've gotten them from so many people, and it's just, it definitely lights you up. So it's
I always say that my clients that give these gifts are radically generous. They want to do something different. They want to make you feel appreciated, and that's why they choose to maybe spend a little more money and time investing in something like this.
Very cool.
So I do have to say, I'm really grateful to you for what you're doing, just for the community and kind of exposing entrepreneurs, small business owners, some very big business owners to maybe a new audience. And anyways, it's just been a pleasure. So I'm really grateful you invited me on.
Well, when you're a billionaire, I'm sure you will remember.
Totally. I will. I'll
check
send
in
you
the
a
mail.
well-wish
Okay?
box.
No, with a little bit more, maybe it's stacked with some bills or something.
We'll talk. Thank you so much.
I'm just kidding. Of course, no, it's my pleasure. I absolutely love having interviews exactly like this one.
Thank you.
It's just awesome. Again, you guys definitely check out her business because it's just super, super cool. To everybody who sent me a well-wish box, you light up my heart every single time. I absolutely love it. It's such a cool business. So if you need investors, I might be in on that too.
I love it. I have a goal to go on Shark Tank.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really
you don't need to. You come on the Whoa G&B podcast. I'll invest.
Perfect.
So, you guys, and thanks so much to James Leitner, who makes all of this happen. James makes us look so good and really puts the show on. And so thanks so much, James, for all that you do. And podcast fam, if you didn't get a chance to write down the information from our sponsors, remember that you can go to whoagnb.com/sponsors. We have links going to all of their websites. There are an incredible group of business owners that make this happen. So please, please, please support them. And special love this episode to our friends over at the G&B Commercial Advisors at Colliers, Gainesville. Gainesville is growing every day, and no one knows that better than the G&B Commercial Advisory team at Colliers, Gainesville. They help businesses and investors of all sizes buy, sell, lease, and manage their properties in North Central Florida. The G&B Commercial Advisory team has the most local experience and expertise in town, plus the resources of a global firm to get your commercial real estate deal done. Ready to get started on your next commercial project? See what they can do for you at colliers.com/Gainesville. And when you do, be sure to say, I heard you on the WHOA G&V podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go,
whoa.
whoa. We will see you later. Bye.